YouTube's doing it again, man.
This bottleneck all it's wrecking. Oh. There's so much traffic right now, it's ridiculous.
Hey, everybody. Just weeding some bugs out here. It's not us tonight. It's actually the streaming server and apparently YouTube right now. It's been an interesting week. The server for the streaming is out of Washington, D.C., and they've been having all sorts of network problems today. I tried switching the servers for the restream feature, and it's acting buggy as hell, probably because a ton of other people are shifting over to other servers too. So hopefully YouTube straightens itself out. I'm going to go try one more thing here. And I sat down earlier today and started doing maintenance on airbrushes. I got a stack of them I got to go through. That's what I get for letting the thing sit for a couple of months without doing a whole lot of anything. And there goes
one. What's up, Nocturnal?
Hey, Noct. Yeah, we're just hammering some bugs out here. The restream server's being a prick, and YouTube's trying to be a prick. Anyways, I'll be right back. I'm going to see if I can...
Succeeding sparklingly.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can jumpstart.
What's going on, Len?
Hi, Len. Hey, Grump. Everybody that's rolling, it looks like your notifications are all happening the way they should.
See?
You know, odds and ends of everything, man. Tons of stuff going on this week for me, but like I said, I'm going to go see if I can kick YouTube in the ass real quick. I'll be right back.
If it was a person, maybe.
Well, if I had a little side monkey to handle some of the technical aspects of this and everything like that, I wouldn't have to leave one computer all the time.
You could always pay me to come out. I have no problem.
That's kind of an expensive road trip for you. Or what, 15 hours difference? Maybe 12, 13?
You're in Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, the very east side. You might as well say I'm like right near the border.
Probably about 11-hour drive.
Well, okay, from just south of Indianapolis.
You haven't seen me drive.
Okay, well, I'm just saying just south of Indianapolis, following laws most of the time, you know, mainly through Ohio and bypassing the early pricks in western
Pennsylvania. They wave
Pennsylvania.
at me. I have a squad car still, so they wave at me.
Oh, well, okay. That's a little bit different. Hi, Dutch.
Well, I still have my car.
Okay, before we get to too many more people, and I'm going to go see if I can kick YouTube in the ass. I mean, I see people showing through on YouTube, which is kind of weird.
Probably running. You might not be getting the stream back to you. It might be bottlenecking on the return.
Well, that's why I'm going to type a little test message and then go check. It just could be an error message on their part. Yes, that's me talking.
What's up, Dutch?
It's trying. Okay, I'll be right back.
I'm in buildings right now. What layer height and speed do I usually use? I usually do my background and stuff at 0.2. And then speed kind of depends. If it's not a really complicated model, I'll run like 100. If it's something that has a lot of detail, I'll slow it down. A lot of times I'll slow it down to 60 just because of the fact that I don't want to have to reprint it again. So if it takes a little longer and looks better, I roll with that. Because I used to be all about trying to see how fast I could go. I mean, I got SKR 1.3 on one, and then I have the S Gen L on the other. I can run that at 140, no problem. But sometimes if it's a detailed model, you're going to get the extra ringing you don't want or the extra lines because of the sheer speed. So like I said, if I want something detailed, I'll slow it way down and just let it print. I don't care how long it takes. I want a nice looking model by the time I'm done. YouTube's working, just test it. Okay. What did I miss from Grumpy? His wife asked. Oh, your wife asked what layer height? That's a good wife that wants to know. Mine doesn't want to know any of this stuff. She just wants me to print her nice things. She's pretty patient about it too. She don't care how long it takes as long as it looks nice. Oh, you missed the answer? Oh, I usually do 0.2, and if it's really detailed, I'll slow it down to 60. If I don't really have a lot of detail in the model, if it's a basic model, I usually crank it up to 100. And if I really don't care how it turns out, like in the way of extreme detail, I'll do like 120 if I'm in a hurry to print something for like prototyping. So I bounce around. But like I said, I use the SKR 1.3 and the S Gen L boards, so I'm using 32-bit, so I can play with the speed a bit more than most people can. If you're going stock, I wouldn't really crank it over 100, and that's not worrying about quality. If you want quality, I'd slow it down. Like I said, I run it at 60, and if it takes a little bit longer, so be it, because I wanted to turn out nice. You know, and everyone switches to the all metal, and I get it, but you really don't need an all metal one. It was just a bad batch they had, and most of the ones they got now are sorted because they went back to their original supplier instead of being cheap. So you shouldn't have the idle arm problem on your new one, just so you're aware. Because they had done something weird with the injection molding and then changed the way it was designed for whatever reason. The manufacturer they went to did this, not them. So it was like off.
Yeah, it's just YouTube being slow.
Okay.
And pricky today. They're duplicating some chat stuff, but that isn't anything I can do anything about.
Right on your first. No, I get it. I'm just saying that you could have replaced it with just a new idler arm. It didn't have to be metal because, like I said, it's just a matter of the batch that they had was a problem, not anything else. They gave you like 2 bad ones, which made no sense to me for a while there too, but they subsequently straightened it out. So just so you know.
They know it is at the top of everyone's mind and has been for a little while. There was rumors in the darkness that they were going to be switching over to metal. I do not know if and when that will happen, or yeah.
You know, if you have a metal one, like I said, they're nice, and I've never switched to a metal one. I haven't needed it because I got a version 1 and a version 2, and they were fine.
Hi, Mike.
And I rarely actually use the lever to do my filament unless I have a problem. And then I don't use the thumb portion of it. I actually push on the base of it, where your filament's at. Instead of pushing on that thumb lever, I actually push on the base of it. And it causes less stress on your part anyways. So, but I usually just try and feed it through, and then I'll either manually push the gear or I'll feed it with the screen because it's just easier.
Wow, man. Restream's going nuts too. It's like
Yeah, probably because it's delay. It's probably like triple posting.
yeah, it's like duplicating people like crazy. Yeah, sorry
It's
about the
okay. We won't miss a question that way.
yeah, that's true. Sorry, folks. The technical difficulties with the chat is not in my arena today.
What's burning in front of you? Is it your coffee?
Oh, I got a diffuser going on right now.
Oh, okay. I just saw smoke. I'm like, what the hell's burning?
Yeah, it's a
I didn't think you had a printer in there, so you're okay.
yeah, it's a diffuser going on. Let me move it. It's starting to annoy me too because I'm starting to notice, and it's a little bit strong. It's kind of a eucalyptus, mentholy, whatever, because my throat's been fried.
Ah. Yeah, I saw the black metal ones. Those are kind of cool looking. I think that's better than the high polished one because the high polished one kind of bothers me. It doesn't match. I know it's kind of weird, but I like my printers to have like a theme and match. I don't know why. It's one of those weird personal issues. I just haven't gotten around to actually buying any because I had printed a few just in case I did break one. But like I said, I had the version 1 and version 2. It worked fine because it was made properly. But everybody wants to crank the tension on those two, and it's not what you want to do. You got to resist the urge to turn that knob clockwise. Just say it.
There's some of those black ones on AliExpress. I seen them about almost a month ago. They showed up kind of randomly. They're just anodized. At least that's what I think they are. I'm all about keeping the colors the same myself anyways. Even the replacement aluminum bed. I don't want to show any of those off until I can get a good anodizing on them so that all of the colors match. My wife calls it feng shui.
Sounds better than Tai Shui, I'm just saying. At least it's a bit closer. Wow, that fell on deaf ears. Jeez.
No. My old doggy was getting up and deciding to change rooms here. I was making sure she was going to make it up.
Ah.
Weather's been a little rough on her lately too. She's going to be turning 15 probably within the next week or two here.
It's getting up there.
Yep. She's still spunky. She has her good days and bad days. Yeah, that's her. I have AC in the office here, and I shut it off for the stream. And without fail, as soon as she's a wolf hybrid for one. So any temperatures over about 65 degrees are a little bit too warm for her. Yeah,
I had that the first round.
Mike, you're not the only one.
Second round, I was prepared. I had 2 browsers up, and I was already logged into PayPal. And I thought I was going to miss it at first because it went to that waiting in line crap. Like you're in the next in line kind of thing. Because it bounced me out. It went to pay at first and then threw me into that line. I'm like, oh man, I didn't get this. And then it went through again and I hit pay now when it just went through and I was like, I got it.
This kind of sets a somewhat evil precedence. And this also, I'm going to drag Creality into it too with
their fault. They started this BS.
Or with their Kickstarter thing. And I guess for a company, I mean, money's tight with everybody, and they're trying to, well, make every penny count and not spend money unnecessarily. But I'm hoping that all these companies don't start following suit and pulling this shit, because basically what that means, they're basically doing the same thing Prusa does, which order a printer now and we'll get it to you sometime within the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12 months.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
Nope. It sold out in like 2 minutes, literally. Not even lying. If it was that long.
Well, that's proper hype training right there. I mean,
But this
okay,
time it was like, I mean, before it was, what was it, only, it was only like 200 they had
yeah,
pre-sell.
yeah.
And they what was it? It was 200 for the special deal and then another 200 for pre-sale.
They could have easily,
And that went like, I mean, it was gone. I mean, it was in my cart. I hit pay and it was like, nope. At least it didn't charge me off, so can't get too mad. But the second time around, they had 2,000
yeah,
and they were gone that fast.
they could have easily put 5 or 6 thousand up.
I don't know if you could really scalp it. I mean, how many could you put in a cart at a time? I don't think you could put that many. I think they had a restriction on it. I didn't check because I couldn't afford to if I actually got it. And I didn't want to screw anybody out of a printer either. So
they said that they put things in place to alleviate that happening, because that happens with Prusa too. When a Prusa announces a new printer, you'll get people that'll buy 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, and
Sure.
they'll turn around and throw them up on eBay,
Yep.
for twice, 3 times. And you guys out there that can't wait and that are willing to pay those exorbitant amounts of money for the printers, you're stupid, okay? And you're not, yeah, you're getting a printer a little bit earlier, but okay.
If I couldn't get on the deal, I wasn't going to worry about it. That's the way I looked at it, because I don't know what it's going to wind up being by the time it gets through Amazon and all the markups and everything else. You don't know if it's going to be around that price.
Elegoo already said that you're looking at about $100 difference.
Well,
So, the people that are out there that are hoping to make a buck on reselling the printers and everything are going to say that. But Elegoo already stated that they are targeting, the price targeting for the printers are cheaper than the 3 or 4 that they originally listed as competitor models out there. And the lowest priced one was right around $600. Okay, so basically that means retail, you can expect these printers to be under $600. Compared to anything else that is out there, $600 for the build area is worth it. The rest of the stuff out there that has comparable build areas, it's actually junk. What I expect the printers to be right around $500, like $529 or something like that. And through Amazon, I'd almost expect with Prime, for there to be free shipping involved with that. Because Elegoo, unlike other companies, their only and primary method of sale is through Amazon. So, yeah.
yeah, I wanted mine a little early, but that's just me.
With me, Grumpy, I had access to early revisions of these models as well as the Mars, and I don't think they're going to be changing a whole lot, or a whole lot has been changed design-wise from the last beta units that went out. They already, for months now, they've already had units out there, and they've been getting feedback from people on it. So any changes that they make, if they're however small, is going to be silly stuff like maybe the USB location, stuff like that, which isn't going to affect the printer working. The printer itself, the design is already there. It's already happy, working, functional, so on and so forth. But
Yeah,
with this,
the big thing they did was move the USB from the front to the side because people were dropping their resin on it.
yeah, the Mars Pro, for the longest time in months, popped up on Amazon, and it was up for almost a week, and it was on sale for $299, I think. And then the regular Mars right now is running at 239, which
I
isn't a
saw it for
bit.
$229.
The 229 is the gray one. The
They
black
brought
one,
the black one down to that too for a
yeah,
while.
the black one for like a few days went down to 229, but I think that was a mistake on their part.
Oh,
It didn't
I
last
got the
very long.
silver one because I didn't care. It's going to be the same printer, so
Yeah, well,
black collects more dust.
this is going to be nice. This is going to be nice because I'm glad Elegoo stepped up and did this, because the larger format printers, we're past the point where resin printers, going on all the way up to 9 inch or so, build areas, they shouldn't be over $1,000. Not anymore. Not for the price of what the components are. Some of the other printers out there that are still trying to and managing to command $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 Form Labs, or more. It's You're buying Apple just because they're claiming it's an Apple, and it's really not necessary. And we're making improvements in the technology all the time. The monochrome LCD tech, um, we've been toying with that for a little while now, and the delay that has happened with this has primarily been from supply.
The black spacer goes between your stepper motor and the PCB. So it's your stepper motor, the black little piece of plastic. Make sure that little strip goes over the long set of pins that are exposed. So that opening, the long opening goes like over that, and then you put your PCB on and then your screws.
Yeah, when you're reassembling it too, do yourself a favor. Don't over tighten those screws.
Nope.
Um, just snug. Don't go any further than that, because it is possible to over tighten them. That can create some issues. And then when you're locking your PCB down, also make sure that you don't over tighten those either. The gap between the spacer and the motor housing is pretty good as far as that little spacer goes. But a few of the PCBs I've seen with the welds on the back, they were cut a little long, and just cranking down a little bit too much can allow those things to arc. So,
Yeah, you'll be touching the back of that stepper motor and be crying.
thanks, Mike. I got it in Hawaii when I went to visit last Christmas, actually. It's one of my favorite Hawaii shirts. That's kind of funny, you go around places on the mainland here, or yeah, just about anywhere probably, and you dig up the Hawaii shirts, like at places like Walmart or whatever. They're junk. You can go to Walmart in Hawaii and get some awesome quality, nice looking shirts there.
Well, there's only two screws on that one for the PCB. So it's just, I usually get the one closest to the carriage first, because that one you gotta get the board in there just right past the metal frame. So you put that on there and then you get that bolt in first and just get it snug, and then put the other one in, get that snug, and then just a little half turn on each of them, it should be fine. As long as it ain't wiggling, it's good. But X pattern for tightening, then that would be if you're talking on the other side, on the left side for your extruder. Yeah, you want to do bottom top, and in the X pattern, because it'll cinch it up nice. But don't over tighten those either.
Don't tighten any of them up.
Don't crank those down because it just will tear something up. Plus, it crushes those weak little bearings, and those bearings aren't that great.
Speaking of which, the short screw on the extruder, I had a guy that was getting some wildly inconsistent flow on his, and I went through everything, and it's like, I think it's time to take this thing apart. And he had tightened down you've got 4 screws on the extruder housing.
On the newer ones, yes.
Yeah, well, there's... Well, no, not
both
on...
of mine have 3.
No, on the actual black, the heat break plate.
Yeah, I only have 3 on both of mine. My 1 and 2 only have 3.
I've always had 4 on every model I've gotten.
I only have 3. Literally, I don't have a hole for it. That's why I was double looking, because everyone's showing me 4. And both of mine only have 3 holes.
Well, that's no fun. You're missing out on a screw you should be getting.
I got screwed twice.
You didn't get screwed twice. Anyways,
depending how you look at it, right?
Yeah, there's one of those screws is shorter. There's definitely.
Yeah, I got three regular size screws. That's it on each one. I was miffed. I was like, because I was looking at the instructions, and I'm like, my plate's solid there too. It isn't like there's a hole or a screw missing. It's like, okay.
Well, anyways,
I was telling people there's 3, and everyone was looking like I got 9 heads. I'm like, well, that's all I got is 3.
That sounds kinky too, in a Dungeons and Dragons kind of way. But anyways,
trifecta, bro.
Case point, he had the extruder housing screws so tight, it was binding the bearings.
Yep.
Okay, and the stepper motor was getting hot because it was fighting to try to do its job. And as soon as I loosened everything up, it started singing and extruding filament, properly. So.
But yeah, make sure the shortest one goes in number 4 slot. That is all the way as you're facing it to your right on the bottom. That's where that short screw goes.
Mike, you bought 11 airbrushes? What the hell, man?
He's gonna send me a couple, right?
What you do? Buy somebody out that was getting rid of their stuff or something?
Somebody that rage quit airbrushing.
I've seen that.
I don't know. I've been messing with just regular brushes, so I need to get an airbrush one of these days.
I was just saying earlier on the one of the cams I got over my paint area right there. I started breaking down earlier today, finally getting caught up with some of this other stuff, and started breaking my... No way, $300?
Nice.
Dude, take a picture of those beasties and put them up. I'm not going to make you list all the models you got or anything like that, but I'll give you a little bit of a hint. Let me get this shit pulled up. Hang on. I'll save you some massive grief here. Since you got used ones and you don't know what you're working with.
Nice though. I haven't looked around for one yet because I keep putting it off. It's like another place I gotta set up.
Taz and probably some other knowledgeable people who work with firearms probably recognize that bottle that I just put there.
Yep, Hobbs.
Yep, good old.
I can just tell by the label. I can't read the label.
Hops number 9. That is the godsend and the Chinese kung fu of cleaning your airbrush and maintaining your airbrush.
It's also great for your guns.
Yeah, that too.
Just saying.
Yep. Get a hold of that stuff and use that when you're doing maintenance on your airbrushes. It will shred. Yep. It'll shred caked on paint. It'll clean stuff up really nice. That and Simple Green. The nice thing about the hops is it's also a lubricant.
Right.
We all like lubricant. Nobody likes going in dry. I saw some eyebrows out of Taz for a second there. Oh, you poor woman. Anyways.
You gotta lick it before you stick it, bro. Just the way it is.
Moving right on there.
Why'd you lose your cam though?
Pardon?
There you go.
I clicked the wrong one. Fat fingers.
You blanked out.
Yeah, I didn't feel like getting up and going into the other part of the offices there to see what the other printer's up to.
It's getting annoying at this point now. Oh. I hate when my notifications go off and I don't want them to.
Yeah, I've got a Kenny and Spiky Bits and a few of the other airbrush gods out there that I really appreciate them doing the content that they do, so I don't have to repeat myself all the time. I've got links to some of their stuff for maintenance and things like that on the Nexus and the newer airbrush areas of the Nexus. You can look that stuff up there, but yep. Tear each one, and Mike, even though you may feel like saving some time or whatever, I'm just going to recommend don't work with any more than one airbrush at a time when you're taking them apart and putting them back together. It's just not worth the hassle of accidentally mixing parts, or
because some don't play well together.
Yeah. Well, I've sat all my parts down, and see, I don't have cats. Okay, but sometimes I'm bouncing around back and forth, and the one time I made the mistake of bumping my desk, I had a bunch of nozzles laid out. Okay, brush number 1, brush number 2, brush number 3, 3 different models. And the only thing that saved my ass was I just happened to recognize the differences between the nozzles. Because when I accidentally, I kind of tripped forward, and when I bumped my ass into the bench, everything just kind of all mounted right up into a little pile. And it's like, fuck. So.
You caused that shock wave to come to a certain point.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they all follow.
Yeah,
my daughter had one, and then she lost the pin somehow. I'm like, how do you lose the pin?
Yeah, the needle or the tip?
The needle itself, I think she lost.
Well, they're not very big.
I know, but I've trained them a little bit better than that.
Magnets.
They've watched their dad do stupid things. I showed them what not to do. That was their whole lesson in life. That's why you have one of these.
Yeah.
So all the screws don't fall out. What have you learned, Dorothy?
What did we learn on the show tonight, Craig? I'm trying some new filament today too that I haven't color-wise, anyways. Since lately I've been spending a lot of money on gizmo dorks and everything like that, and I ran out of my favorite green. I figured I'd try theirs, and it's gooey, if that makes any sense. Usually when you're laying down your first layer and everything like that, your filament has a certain feel to it.
Yeah.
And this stuff, it almost kind of worried me a little bit, because it's like, this stuff feels kind of Gooey.
Snot.
Yeah. It's coming out fine though. I just had to keep an eye on it for a little while because I didn't want to go through and change all my settings and shit like that. And I just dropped the extruder temperature down about 5 degrees and it's fine. So
And I played with a little painting today.
yeah, I was gonna ask you. I seen that earlier. You gotta show it off.
I think she turned out pretty good. I could use some probably, a little bit of tone to it, but it turned out pretty good overall. I did a lot of layers on that. That was all by brush, so
Yeah, Grumpy, my go-to always has been and always will be ESUN, unless they make some dramatic changes or something and start fucking things up.
cannot stand inland. I seriously hate inland.
That Inland is also Micro Center's
Yeah,
rebrand.
I know. Because guys around here when we're doing the COVID-19 stuff with the shields, they'd go there and pick it up, and it's like, why'd you take this back? I'm not using it. Give it to somebody else. I'm not even playing with it. That stuff, it's just white's like the worst from inland. I mean, I never had it. It's like a big wasted roll of filament. It's like, just go give it to somebody else who has a Bowden tube or something. Let them play with it.
Come to think of it, the Gizmodorks Green, which Gizmodorks is based out of California, which
Right.
is also where a majority of the rebrands seem to land. Probably wouldn't surprise me that the Gizmodorks filament, and I haven't confirmed this with them, I should probably ask them, it's acting kind of like Inland. And again, I've had some rolls of Inland filament that were okay, but they did have a tendency to be shinier, or gooier. I mean, that's my technical term, gooey.
Yeah, I was having a lot of clogs with it, and then I was having weird extrusions, and I couldn't. I mean, no matter what I did, up or down the spectrum, and it just did not want to flow right. And I was like, at first I thought it was me. I thought maybe something was wrong with the printer, and then I just threw another roll on of a different brand. Perfect print. I'm like, okay. It doesn't work too bad on my Ender 3 Pro. For some reason, it works okay on the Ender 3, but on the Volcanoes, it doesn't like it.
Overture's been kicking some ass lately too. They're black still. If you guys have been playing with the Overture Black, have you noticed that it has a really nice matte finish to it?
Yes.
All the rows of the black that I got, it beats the hell out of any of the matte filaments that people are out there trying to get 30, 40, 50 bucks a spool for. I got a little worried for a while there, and it's like, shit, I hope they didn't, make a mistake with this batch or something, so I went ahead and ordered a ass load of it. But they tell me that, no, that's the formula, it's not going to change. Oh, that's my WeChat ping. Hang on, I'll be right back. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't get a lot of it.
Hey, everybody can start playing Overture poker now.
Right?
You got all the build surfaces and everything too.
Yeah.
I use those for mouse pads and coffee trivets and shit like that everywhere. Yep. Really, guys, we're racking this crap up for giveaways.
I'm just saving it to give to you.
Yeah. Please take this shit. It's it's just like that. It's good for one-offs, or if you've got like some cranky filament that is going to give you some shit you don't want to deal with. But
I use it to take photographs too. It's kind of nice for like reference for sizes.
Yeah,
because it gives you kind of a scale. Throw that down with one of their rulers, and now you get the scale so people can see how big it is.
I haven't tried, Len. I haven't tried their Sunluz Silk yet. I've had people telling me that it's pretty nice.
Because I had the TTYT 3D stuff, and they kept
That's the
giving me
titty filament. Don't mess
yes,
with people. That's the titty filament.
titty filament, and they would give you acupuncture needles. I got so many of those now; it's not even funny.
Yep.
I got like a truckload of those acupuncture needles.
I've been using mine.
Well, and I do tend to do myself acupuncture for my different nerve because I learned from the chiropractor.
Oh, I was just
So I
talking
do
kinky
use those
shit.
needles. I actually really do that.
I'll be right back. I gotta check my WeChat, folks.
I'll even wrap it with a cotton patch and get it hot. Tap it in where I got a nerve for a nerve block. Oh. Oh. But yeah, I like the Overture. I like their PETG. Their PET G works awesome. I've had nothing but great luck with their black, their colors. They're clear. And their PLA is good too. And then usually it runs fairly inexpensive, which is nice too. I kind of worry about the $16.99 filament. I don't know why. It bothers me they're going to sell it that cheap. It's like, well, that could cause me more grief than I need. I think it's the way it's streaming from YouTube. It's like triple streaming it, so it's like getting a weird hump in the net for whatever reason. So we're getting like a continuous double. I'm not sure where. I mean, I know I'm on top of the servers pretty much from my area because Chicago downtown is where the servers for our stuff is at. But if they're streaming from like Washington or whatever, it's going to be messed up because there's something wrong with the internet lately. Never paid over 18 for a roll of filament, huh? I have. Unfortunately, I've had for a couple. I don't know. I try and stay in like the $20 to $25 range on stuff that I know. That's where I try and stay. And sometimes it's just, especially lately, you couldn't stay under 18. I don't know how you do it. It's hard to get any filament. I bought some of that filamentum stuff, but I think it's because it's overseas. It was more expensive. They had a cool color that the wife wanted, and I was like, "Oh, okay, fine. I can splurge," because she let me buy the printers, right? Like, okay, yes, she let me. I know my place. I'm just going to put it out there. She puts up with a lot of my BS, so yeah. I try to buy in bulk, but I don't know. Sometimes it's like, do I need that much? I don't know. And then with the PPE stuff, I mean, I got hammered because we had a whole bunch of hospitals in the area that needed stuff right away, and we were all cranking out as much as we could. So I burned up a lot of filament. I donated a lot of filament to the cause. A pumpkin building for the wife. I had a nice big stock of filament until all that stuff started. I was like, okay. I really didn't need to order much. I was like, here and there, I just pick up stuff like a fancy color to play with or something. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, I'm out of filament. Oof. Yes, wood will eat up a nozzle. Glow in the dark wood, the carbon fiber stuff, and some of that metal stuff will tear up a nozzle really quick. I usually stick with I stopped using the brass ones, I'll be honest. I don't like having to replace them. I'll get the hardened steel ones from like Micro Swiss. Those last me a good long time unless I do something silly. And even then you can pretty much fix it. Because I'll throw it in acetone, let it soak for a couple of days, put my new one in, and then I'll use I got a little micro heat gun for my soldering station. I'll put it in a vise, set it up with the heat gun on it, walk away for a little bit, come back, run the acupuncture needle through it, and be done. Cleans it right out. Well, you know when it's time to replace, when you're starting to get a weird, funky print. So everything's dialed in and normally you're printing fine and you start getting weird lines. Or if you look at the nozzle and it seems like it's like bent or out of shape or wider than it should be, that's an indication you need to replace it. Because when you think you're printing at 0.4 and it's widened to an 0.06, you're going to get some weird...
Hello.
Thanks for subbing. Yeah, I just checked YouTube too, and it's Restream that's doing all the triplicates, and the Twitch chat is doing all the triplicates and duplicates. It's not doing it on YouTube, at least. I was worried about that. I didn't want everybody getting blasted with 3, 4, and 5 copies of the lines.
Another way to test it if you don't want to bother with looking is if you're saying you're using a 0.4, if you put it to a 0.5 and 0.6 and it looks like it's printing better, time to replace the nozzle. It's a cheating way of doing it.
Well, I seen you guys were talking about wood eating nozzles up just a minute or so ago. I'm going to beg to differ. Somehow I managed to get a hold of nozzles that don't degrade with wood filament.
Oh, now, are you using the brass ones?
Yeah.
I don't know how you're gonna get away with using I've never seen a brass one hold up to that stuff.
I have.
Are you the guy that would troll me and tell me you've had the same nozzle for 6 years? Are you that guy?
I didn't say 6 years. I said
I'm asking.
I ran for over. I ran for
on a forum one day. Telling me you had a nozzle for 6 years.
I ran for over a year without changing nozzles or having any real noticeable degradation. Running on 2 machines, exclusively running wood almost all the time. And I could yank I still have those nozzles. I could yank them off and show them to you. They look fine. Part of it is the wood filament that you get.
Right.
There are wood filaments out there that are just outright shit. And I'd have to say that they probably don't have a good mixture of perhaps things in it. There's like your glow-in-the-dark filament. Glow-in-the-dark filament, you'll burn through a nozzle in under a roll.
Yeah, because I actually had some I got from See Me CNC, and it was tearing stuff up so bad, they offered to sell it. When they sold it to you, they sent you a replacement for your See Me CNC extruder plastic housing, because it would tear that up too. That's how rough this stuff was.
69. I was going to ask if anybody heard anything like that going on. That doesn't surprise me either. Earlier today, I mean, it was when I was just getting ready to set up for the stream and everything like that. I was getting all sorts of authentication errors and crap like that that just weren't normal. So I just went ahead and rolled with it. But case point, guys, wood is a lot softer than brass. Wood is actually just as soft, if not softer, than
Blue wood might
plastic.
be softer. I'm just saying.
Um, the being that we've been subscribed here to the maker boxes for just about ever since they started, and there's literally dozens of boxes of the stuff. We've had the opportunity to try a lot of different wood filaments, and there are some that are out there that it wouldn't surprise me if they aren't uh, somewhat rough on the nozzles. But okay, I'll stick with my brand that I've been with ever since day one, and that's Hatchbox. Even though a lot of people dog on Hatchbox, you know, for some of their other filaments and things like that, their wood filament, there isn't anything better out there. I'm
No,
sorry.
I've always had nice prints with those. I'm the first to admit that one because I actually bought it because I was desperate and I was like, oh, it prints really nice.
But as a person who uses wood tools and things like that all the time, and has a lot of antique and specialty wood tools and things like that that are involved with and using with brass, bronze in some cases, which are almost the same metals or materials and things like that. If your wood filament is chewing your nozzles up, it's probably the filament and not the nozzles. So,
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. If some of the carbon fibers like to tear it up.
I've never seen, I've never really, except for the finish, you know, before we started getting a hold of some better matte finish filaments and things like that. Carbon fiber has been awesome for, you know, getting a nice matte finish on prints. But now it's not really any major measurements stronger than some of your other filaments that are out there. It just,
Right.
as far as what carbon fiber is and how it's used in other things, you know, like ballistic applications and things like that, that is not what is going into your 3D
No,
print. So it's more hype.
it's a marketing thing.
Yeah, it's more hype than anything else. So.
Because I mean, everyone thinks, oh, carbon fiber, so it's going to be stronger. Well, it's not running in those type of layers in a weave, so it's not going to be the same. I don't see it performing as well.
Now, 69, I've got a couple of spools of the MG chemical wood. I've heard a lot of other people say that that stuff is pretty good too. And I feel bad because I'm normally up a little bit more on the filaments that are out there, especially in that realm. But I've been told that the MG chemical wood is really good too. Comparatively speaking, it's maybe just a little bit more pricey if that's the same stuff I'm thinking about. They've got a really nice color, or they've got a really nice color if it's the same one I'm thinking of too. They've got like a dark or a rosewood color, if I'm thinking of the same one. I like the Hatchbox, and you know, being that I have a wood shop and everything like that, I have, you know, just about every type of stain under the sun available for mixing colors and stuff like that. So color's not that important to me. Now, Grumpy, the MG Chemical, the glow in the dark stuff, that stuff I have played with, and that stuff is awesome. Out of all the glow in the dark filaments that I've had access to, the MG Chemical stuff has probably the brightest and the longest lasting glow, if that can be such a thing. So that's my findings with it, anyways. I got a
It has the
Amelin,
longest lasting glow.
the Amelin brand. If you guys ever come across it, maybe like on Amazon or wherever else they sell it at, they've got this. It's like a Stardust glow in the dark, you know, that's just got little bits and pieces of glow in the dark in it, and it's supposed to give you this like starry, glowy effect. It sucks. It's nothing but shit.
Hey, the concept was cool though.
Yeah, if MG Chemical did it with whatever it is that they put into theirs, and you know, it'd be awesome. But
It's
the
radium. I mean, it is MG Chemical, right?
yeah.
It's the Radium Girls coming back.
Oh, Mike, are you putting pictures up on Discord?
Yeah, he was asking. I think we missed it earlier. He is asking about a quiet compressor. If you knew of any,
Oh,
I think too.
I will chime in on the compressors. I just want to pull up the Discord real quick here if I can figure out.
I just remember when we were talking about I saw the 6 outlet block that he got with the airbrushes, which is cool. But I don't know if I want to use 6 at a time. That's 6 cleaning jobs you got to do when you're
Oh
done.
shit. Okay, guys, this is worth pulling up. We'll get back to the air compressor in just a second here. I want to get this pulled up. This is awesome here. Let me swap windows. Oh, let's go into the right window, Earl. There we go. Damn, dude. Now, you know, let me pull this over into the bigger one. That's worth it. There we go.
Yeah, like I said, that's what when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's awesome. That's a good deal. Earl's getting more.
You just missed my birthday was Monday, guys. Yeah, moist. Let's everybody say it all at the same time. Moist.
Moist.
We'll get our hits on YouTube bumping up here really quick. Nice. That's something very nice to have. You will appreciate having that. And I'm seeing that you actually have more than one brand on the connection right there. Your Badgers, your your Badgers, your Iwatas, and some of the other brands that are out there, they'll have different connectors. The person that had that little setup already kind of has you bumped up for being prepared for that, so that's a good thing. Nice. Cornfed dropped something in here too. What was this all about?
Oh, it was just about the rechat, the restream. Going crazy.
Yeah, is Cornfed on? Is he on Twitch? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's probably on Twitch. Yeah. Now, it's not doing it on YouTube, so it's got to be doing it on Twitch. That's the only one I didn't check, and I didn't check Mixer yet. So, apologize to you guys for that. It's them. It's not us tonight, so I can't really do nothing about it.
Twitch is kind of twitchy. I'm being very punny today.
Shadow dropped in a pic here. Shadow, what you got going on there besides some really awesome colors on your printer?
When was this? Isn't this old?
601. Whoops. Okay, that is a slightly older one.
Like, I didn't see him in here tonight, so I was like, I don't know.
Yep. I'm just seeing if anybody dropped anything else, anything new in here. Well, you know, Mike, if any of those brushes give you any shit, you can ship them off to me and I'll look them over for you.
I'll take good care of them.
Yeah, and we'll just hope that they don't get lost in the mail. You got some nice airbrushes to play with right there. I'm a Iwata guy. The ones with the red handles, those look like Pachets. I can't really tell. Those look like some older Pachets, maybe.
So Pache.
They were the whip at one point in time.
I know. I'm familiar with it.
Well, Badger, they're an American company, and bless their little monkey hearts. Um, Come on, give me my cam back. There we go. Bless their little monkey hearts. They try really hard. I'm getting ready to pick up the Sotar of theirs as soon as I get a chance to.
Sotar says, "Pick me up."
Yeah. Well, it's a you can get some very fine lines with the Iwata Eclipse. I mean, it's just awesome. You can get as tight as you want to with that, but the Sotar by default comes with a much smaller needle, and I normally don't dive into smaller needles. I've never really had to, and I just want to play. It's one of those things that everybody's ranting and raving about them, and I'm not really happy. Yeah, I can't really. It looks like I'll bet that's the black one. Let me. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, Grumpy posted his dice tower too.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the black isn't showing up for me until I looked at it the right way. Damn it. That one right there, that's supposed to be one awesome little brush for fine detailing and everything like that. But I've seen it matched up with the Eclipse, and the Eclipse did just as good in the right hands. But damn it. Oh well. Clean them up good. Clean them up good and play with them. You got a sweet deal, and I really kind of feel bad for the guy that ended up giving the stuff away. I mean, he literally gave it away to you. What do we got here? Oh, Discord's trying to do it now too. There we go. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
What Grumpy, what company is that from?
Oh shit! I got something on the plate. I gotta go. I'll be right back.
Uh-oh, I recognize that. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but that's there's a program out there that's creating STLs from Google Maps or terrain maps. That looks sweet. Oh, it's a website that's doing it? I could have swore I saw a... I could have swore I saw maybe it was probably directing to that website. I get so much shit going through my thing. It's just like I kind of lock it into the back of my brain somewhere. And it's like, yeah, I've seen that. And if you get a chance, go ahead and post that website up in case people want to check it out. If you would, awesome. Appreciate that. Cornfed just dropped that into the chat. If you guys want to follow the link to that and kind of check it out.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, with the Sotar, just be very, very Elmer Fudd careful with the tip on that. If that's the model that I'm thinking of, the tip isn't really protected. They have a add-on that you can buy for them to protect those tips. Just be very, very, very wary of protecting that tip.
Yo, dude, protect your tip. Sorry. Couldn't help myself. There's some detail in this model I didn't see until I enlarged it. Wow.
fatsntowers.com, recent Kickstarter. That's free. That dice tower is free on Thingiverse. Cool. Oh, let me get into the right part of the screen right here and bring you guys up to date on something too. I've been working on lately. I've got all these areas already built into the website. I just have to go over and finalize them before I make them active for you guys to see and everything. So gradually you're going to see stuff popping up here. Like in this particular case here, I had a lot of inquiries just recently about people wanting to get into metal casting. So I'm working up a series of the different tools and things like that that goes through and kind of explains stuff, and you know, some of my favorites, some of the ins and outs of some of this other stuff. That section's been put up. It's going to be expanded on pretty heavy. This section of the site's going to probably drop down to about half the page by the time everything's all said and done. Also in the modeling section, there's a newer area in there now for you guys that's devoted specifically to airbrushing. With one of my favorite buddies. Speaking of which, I mentioned Mike earlier about cleaning up your airbrush and stuff like that. Kenny, this is Next Level Painting. He's got tons and tons of good, useful information on cleaning and doing maintenance on the airbrushes and stuff like that. So check these out when you get a chance to. You can watch them. You can watch them directly on site if you want. That's kind of why I set this up the way they, the way they are. And you can also just click on the YouTube symbol down in the lower right hand corner and go to their channels and subscribe, like, follow them if you want or whatever. Some of this is because I'm lazy. I want to have easy access to this stuff. If I want to kick back and just watch stuff, I don't want to go flipping around YouTube channels all the time. So you guys are kind of benefiting from my laziness too. And there's always a ton more to go through. And this will be really important, especially for some of you people that are either new to painting or want to improve your game a little bit. I'm going to be expanding this pretty heavy. Even though this is in the color theory is designated as being in the airbrush area, there's also brush painting stuff in here as well.
Yeah, most of the color stuff is going to be pretty much similar, because he was going over on that one video, the first one that's on there, he was going over color theory, which works for brushes or
yeah.
So I mean, it was interesting actually.
Yeah, you can get lost in watching this stuff, and it's kind of why I like on my own sites, I like having a kind of like a TV that I can just kick back and go from video to video.
I remember, I did do some stuff in art, and some of the stuff brought back memories of stuff that I forgot. It's like, yeah, okay, now I remember that now. And it's like, yeah. So there's a lot of that going on watching the video, which actually brought a lot of stuff back.
Yep. And
as you can see from my first, I showed you my first picture, and then what happened in the second was much better.
Yeah, well, Kenny especially, and there's a few, they're part of a group called the Long War Network. It's a group of guys, and I spent probably way too much time watching these guys and hanging out with them on Twitch when I was getting back into airbrushing. I put it down for a few years, and I kind of wanted to see what was kind of new, what was happening, because unlike other things, one of the things that does change with this airbrushing, specifically, is the paint. Paints have improved so much over the last few years. it's a Randy Savage Macho Man freak out, if you will.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you don't have to like thin down and make it work.
Yep. And I'm gonna be doing some live videos and stuff like that on some specific stuff because there's you can always learn something new. And even after I've been painting with brushes since the 80s, I did it pretty actively for a long time, and then about 15 years ago I picked up airbrushes, and we just didn't have the stuff available to us that we have over the last 5 or 6 years, especially, and now it's just blown up. There's some awesome stuff that you can do now that just wasn't possible before. Mike, you're gonna laugh when I say this. Yes. Citadel, Vallejo, Reaper, Army Painter. Yes. And the only reason
All
I
of the above.
well, the only reason I say that is there are going to be some colors and some things like some of the washes, um, some of the glazes and things like that. Citadel, especially, they've got the market cornered on all sorts of weird and strange color arrangements and glazes and washes and stuff like that. And once in a while, picking up a bottle or two of the stuff is worth it. But as far as go to something that I'll use almost all the time in comparison to the other stuff is going to be Vallejo first, Army Painter second. I'm really happy with the Army Painter stuff, and there's other brands that I'm going to turn you. You can, Mike. If you and this is an old secret that we kind of kept under the lid for a number of years, and Kenny even teaches this stuff too. Your best tool that you're going to be able to use nowadays with your airbrush is going to be flow improver. That's the Vallejo stuff. That, a little bit of water, and you can just about mix any of the paints that are out there. Acrylics. Don't get in. Don't if you're going to get into doing spraying oils or any of the other types of paints that are out there. Get a separate airbrush. Don't mix them with your good brushes, as I call it. There's almost no reason to paint, at least with models and miniatures and things like that. There's almost no reason nowadays to ever use oils or anything like that. Not anymore. That's my opinion. I mean, there'll be some guys that are out there that'll probably disagree with me, but it's like, it's your airbrush. Go ahead and fuck it up if you want. I get torn away all the time from my bench, sometimes for maybe 10 minutes or sometimes a half hour, an hour before I get back to it. And with your oils and some of your other lacquer type paints and things like that, that's all it takes to fuck your airbrush up.
We'll flash over.
Mike, I've got for doing my scatter terrain and doing large amounts of terrain and stuff like that, I get I go to Walmart and I get the apple barrel when it's on sale for 50 cents. I won't put it in my airbrush though, because it's I guess if you I grew up painting, and I even worked for an interior decorator for a number of years, so I had my hands in latex paint all the time and semi-gloss and oil-based paints. And if you've ever gotten regular flat latex paint on your hands and just kind of feel like it has like a super minor grit to it, the apple barrel paint gets that way. And to me, that's like trying to put that through your airbrush is a no-no. It might be that the pigments, either the pigments are kind of chalky or they may be, just ground a little bit large. But now you can take any of the Vallejo paints. You don't have to get the Vallejo Air. As a matter of fact, I have very few of those. Let me get back to our main screen here. And let me pull something up here.
I don't know. I still gotta work on getting an airbrush. I keep saying I'm gonna buy one, and then I keep putting it off.
I'm sure the bottles will change from time to time, but the any of the Vallejo paints, if you just use flow improver and a little bit of water, they're just as good as the air. So you don't have to drop the extra money on the air paints if you don't want to.
Hey, I'll take it if you send me one.
Yeah, there's guys. There's one brand out there for you guys that are interested in maybe getting into this. There's one brand out there that I'm going to tell you just to stay away from for anything other than priming and doing large amounts of color, like on terrain and stuff like that. Is going to be the Master Airbrush stuff. They're all over Amazon. They sell.
Yeah, they're really cheap too, and it was like I almost bought one and I thought better of it. I'm like, nah.
I've got a few of them here, but they're only going to be good enough for priming and just spraying large areas. When it comes down to when you start to get good enough to want to do detail work, which shouldn't take very long, you're going to exceed their capabilities like really fast. So.
That's what I figured. That's why I didn't invest. I was like looking and I was like, I was tempted and I was like, it's kind of too cheap.
If money is a consideration, and I'm gonna do a recommended airbrush section just like I was showing you for the casting stuff and everything too. That's all getting ready to get dropped in the Nexus site. If money is a consideration at the start, Iwata has a model called the Neo. It's about $50, and it's great for starter and everything like that. And by the time you get good enough with it, and you want to consider stepping up and everything like that, you'll have no problem dropping an extra $100 or $120 on one of the better models that are out there.
Oh, he hasn't answered the compressor question. I've been waiting.
Yeah, I was just getting to that. I was looking at my little note thing right here too.
I was gonna redirect him, I promise you, because I'm interested too. So
okay, this is my take on compressors. The airbrush compressors out there, if you're mobile, in other words, if you're traveling around and like maybe going and hanging out at a cabin for the weekend, or if you're going to like a show or something and you're going to be painting at a show, the portable compressors are fine. I don't particularly care for them because when I'm sitting down to do a lot of work, you'll run out of air really fast. And even though they're quiet, you get that little thump, 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 thump that they make. It still gets annoying after a while, especially if you're doing large area pieces. Like, let me grab something real quick here.
I mean, I have a regular airbrush out in my garage, but I don't know if I want to run a line into my house for this.
All right. If you're starting to do larger pieces, okay. Now, with those little tiny airbrush compressors and things like that, it's going to kick on 2 or 3 times before you're even finished doing this. And for me, that's too much. You'll get a drop in pressure No matter how good they are. I've had I've seen the expensive kits, and I've seen the cheap ones. They're about the same. What you're better off doing, which is what everybody's waiting for, is go to my half favorite Walmart of the tool world, a place
Harbor
like,
Freight.
yes, go to Harbor Freight and spend $50 on a 2-gallon pancake compressor. Yes, they're loud, okay, but the trick to that is get yourself a 100-foot hose and run that fucker out to your garage and sit it in your garage. Put your regulator in your hobby area and everything like that, and you're never going to hear the thing. Okay, I have out in my shop here, I've got pancake compressors. I've got all the way up to 200-gallon air compressors, so there's no shortage of air here. But for airbrushing most of the time, if I don't want to hear these big compressors going off in the other part of the building here, I'll hook up the pancake compressor, and you'll paint for an hour, maybe sometimes even 2, before that compressor will kick back on once it's filled back up. And some of the airbrush compressors are out there. They've got these little tanks sitting on top of them. They don't last for shit. I mean, if you're limited for space, at a minimum, get one that does have a tank on it, so you've got that extra air reservoir to pull from. Because when you're doing fine detail work, when you're, just say the worst possible time that you're going to have a air compressor change and the air pressure to kind of bounce up or down even just a little bit is going to be like when you're doing the pupil on an eye, or you're just finishing up after 2 hours of doing a medallion or a piece of jewelry on a very small piece. Your pressure will change. You'll, just out of habit, you'll drop your finger just a little bit harder to get some more paint coming out, and then bam, it'll go back on and the pressure will go back up, and yeah, it's just not worth it. So the biggest air reservoir that you can afford, and like I said, is going to be on something like a pancake compressor, and it's cheaper too. Those airbrush compressors start out at what, $100, $125, something like that. You can get all set up with a Harbor Freight pancake compressor for about $50-$60. If you get the 20% coupons that they offer all the time and everything too, you can get it even going cheaper. Just make sure, no matter what compressor you use, you want that moisture trap, and you want a secondary regulator that you have maybe hopefully attached to the line and sitting right underneath your table by your leg, so you can look down and adjust your air pressure on the fly. Because there's going to be times when you may be kicking up to like 30 psi or 35 psi, which is crazy high. Most of the time you're going to be dropping down to like 15, 18, right in that range. And you want to be able to just look down at that little gauge right there and actually adjust it without having to get up out of your chair. You don't want to have to run all the way back out to your shop or something like that to change the air. Yeah, Grumpy, just if you've got a real nice pancake compressor, and if it's like out in your garage or something like that, 100 feet of air compressor line is butt cheap. And just go ahead and throw that beastie on there. Drill a hole in the wall. Don't tell the wife. Yeah, just hide it somewhere. You can even soundproof it by 2-3 inch closed cell insulating. The pink foam that you get at the hardware store. You make a little box to throw the damn thing in, and just hot glue a cube. And drop it over top of it, or something like that. for a while there, when the wife was pregnant, and even the smallest sounds got under her skin for a little while there. And I know for those of you who've had children can probably sympathize or understand. I even ran my one of my compressors for a little while because I was doing a job. I put the air compressor in the back seat of my car. Out in the driveway, and I ran that line all the way through the garage at the time and all the way into the house that way. So it worked. Well, you know, you can if you've got like a, as you can see there, I've got uh, a fume hood with a filter on it and everything like that, and it just pumps the air out of the offices here. If you've got a fume hood going and everything like that, it's going to be louder than your compressor's ever going to be. You know, hearing it off in another room. But if you're pumping the air outside or anything like that, yeah, yeah, don't forget to oil it either. You know, yeah, you can even, you know, run the airline through a window or something like that. You know, it's going to be particular to, you know, how your house is set up and everything. Well, you know, Mike, even if it is oilless, some Dick-Electric grease on it will make it paint better no matter what.
Just hang out with Alan, would you?
Hang on, my WeChat's binging. I'll be right back, guys. So I hope that answered the compressor thing. You don't have to spend exorbitant amounts of money on the air. Put the money into a good airbrush. You'll be glad you did. And you know, an air compressor for what it is. Even some of the pancake compressors that are out there are relatively quiet compared to, you know, the big dogs, the, you know, 100-gallon, 125s or whatever.
Yeah, I got my 100-gallon in the garage, so
Yeah, you
I just
can.
run the line from that.
Well, the advantage, okay, I will say this much: the advantage to, you know, using a big tank is, okay, you can go ahead and run that compressor and fill your big tank up once, say like a 100-gallon or, you know, a 200-gallon, and you may paint for hours before it'll ever turn
Never
on.
turns on, right?
Yeah, it just,
It isn't like you're using air tools.
Mike, that Army Painter set on Amazon, give me 1 day, because I might be able to get a discount code out of them guys. It's been a little while since I talked with them. And the last time they gave me a discount code, which was a couple of years ago or whatever, it was also useful on Amazon. So give me 1 day. I'll post something on the Nexus about it. Now, that Army Painter set, it's got like, is that the one that's got like 90 in it or something like that? If it is, that's like, yeah, the last set of theirs that I picked up, it was like one of the 90 sets or something like that. It came with a couple of brushes, and it had like 3 or 4 different washes in it or whatever. One of the things I'm going to be showing you guys too, I just got this stuff in today. One of the videos and something I was going to do on a live stream maybe was I was going to show you guys how to make washes for a lot cheaper than those little Farkin bottles that they sell all the time. You know, you can make a quart of washes, which will last a lot of you guys a very, very long time for about the price of a few bottles of the small stuff. So there's a couple other guys out there. I'm sure they've got videos on it. One that comes to mind that is really good is Black Magic Craft. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's got a really good wash formula that he uses out there, and it's really similar to the one that I used. Golden High Flow Acrylic. The name sounds familiar, but yeah, Mike, the 124 bottle set, if that's the one I'm thinking of, and let me check here. Yeah, Mike, the last one that I bought, was like 90 bottles, and it had like 3 or 4 bottles of wash in it. So if they've bumped it up to 124, That's probably not too bad. Okay, I got to check that WeChat. I'll be back in just a minute here. So I hope that answered the question about the compressors and stuff like that. We're going to be digging into paints and everything like that as a kind of like a common everyday practice here during the week here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, you can make your own washes pretty easy, I think. I mean, honestly, you don't have to use an airbrush for a wash either. You can just go back to standard painting, make a wash really quick. What? Come here, you. Come here. Say hello to everybody. Hello to everybody. Nope, guess not. I'll be right back. I need to let her out the door because she's crying at me. We don't. Sorry about that. I let the dog outside. She gets very sensitive if I don't let her go. She'll progressively get louder with her whine. I always have to let the dogs out. For some reason, all the animals come to me. And then I have to keep track of the new kitten because the kitten tries to escape. And my daughter will flake if the cat gets out. And he's quick. You got to really keep an eye on him. Sorry, I'm a bit tired today. Just not with it. Well, she's pretty good because she's a short-haired dog, so it isn't bad. I don't get a lot of shedding from her. Um, the Yorkie has hair, and the cat's kind of new, so I don't know how well he's gonna shed or not shed yet. But so far, so good. He's still a kitten, though, so who knows? I don't have any caffeine, actually. 'Cause I got the diet, no caffeine. Because my dietitian said I had to go that route. I guess all those years of drinking Mountain Dew kind of was not good for me. It's the only stuff I actually like because everything else tastes like it's diet. This doesn't taste like it's diet to me. So it's like, okay, I can do this. You're going for the lac enclosure. I've seen some nice ones. Some guys have done some really nice work with it. I'm just too lazy, I'll be honest. I only have a certain amount of space. And it's like, okay, if I start adding more tables, it's going to be problematic.
Well, if you start showing some of this stuff to your daughter, you're gonna end up buying the stuff anyways. You were saying that earlier.
Yep. You're showing me all that casting stuff. I'm like, yep. I know somebody's gonna want that. She did give me static about the new printer though, which I was shocked.
She didn't or did?
She did. She was like,
so?
why'd you need another one?
The resin printer?
Really? Yeah. I'm like, this benefits you, right? Give me 1 second. I gotta let the dog back in.
Yeah.
Now she's barking at the door.
Yeah, Mike, it's kind of big. I'm lazy when it comes to enclosures and stuff like that. I'll get a set of the floor mats that interlock together and everything like that, and I'll throw a cube together and build it up around the printer if I need to. I don't print ABS or any of the higher temperature stuff as much anymore. Kind of haven't had a need to. But realistically, I guess if you're going to, get into something a little more permanent and things like that, I'm a fan of good old MDF. I like building the stuff that you can drop out of a window and kill somebody with. Because a lot of the lac tables, like the IKEA lac tables and stuff like that, for me, they're too flimsy. And that usually translates into vibration that goes right back into the printer, and that'll show up on your prints. I'm not saying that all of the builds that people have done end up that way, but most do. Case point, a friend of mine, I tried talking him into getting a Prusa MK2. This was a number of years back. It took me about a year to talk him into getting one, and he finally got one. And he saw the lac table builds that everybody was doing and everything like that. And his wife's asthmatic, and he was really concerned about particulates and stuff like that. So he went ahead and he built a IKEA lac table setup, built it and put it together with this. He got some special cut plexiglass for it and everything like that, and he must have spent about a week putting it all together and everything like that. And literally the first print that he was doing, for some goofy ass reason, one of the legs cut loose on the lac table, and it fell forward and busted the printer, busted the lac table setup all up and everything like that, and it was a defect in the manufacture of the table, and it didn't do me any good, me being the asshole that I am. I said, well, did you check it to see if it was wobbly or not before you started printing with it? And he said, well, it was a little bit wobbly, but I figured with the weight of the printer in there that it would stabilize it. No. Yeah, somebody told me that some of the ones that they've gotten a hold of, it was like the legs, aside from them being hollow, they're almost like made out of cardboard or something like that. Maybe that's how thin they are. To me, that's, I'm a woodworker and everything, and I've done carpentry, cabinetry, and everything like that, and I like building shit out of solid wood. All the benches and everything that I build, I can buy desks if I want to. But for printers and any other type of work I do and everything like that, I just get some construction lumber, good old 4x4s and 2x6s or 2x8s. And yeah, it's a pain in the ass to move the stuff around and everything like that, but they never wobble. I never have to worry about the things giving way or cutting loose. Well, as far as the heat goes and everything like that, especially like with the artilleries and stuff like that, I would personally be more comfortable with the base somehow being separated from the rest of the printer, at least mostly, so that there's adequate cooling going to the base.
Yeah, you don't want to fry any steppers.
Get you. Yeah, because the artilleries themselves, the cooling, the stock cooling that's inside of the artilleries right now is just adequate. I guess that's a good word that you'd want.
Bare minimum?
Adequate. Because case point, okay, I haven't had to do any additional cooling, and I've run the things pretty hot on all 6 of the ones that I've got here, and not had any issues whatsoever. The only time I burnt up a stepper driver was when the cooling fin fell off. And I had no way of knowing that the cooling fin fell off, but man, I heard it when it happened. It's like there's noise coming out of the artillery section of the print room. What's going on? That's not normal.
Right.
I went over there and I could tell right away, and I shut it down, and I just shined a light on the inside, just to see what was going on, and I could see that little fin sitting on the bottom of the base in there. It's like,
That'll do it.
Yep. Yeah, I heard you when I was walking back and forth. I heard you talking about being tired, Taz. Yeah, I'm finally starting to catch up on my sleep. I've had the last 3 weeks, I haven't been sleeping for shit. I've just been doing too much and got too much going between the artillery stuff. This is resin printing season for me now, so that also means that here shortly I'm going to be getting into casting season.
Right. Yeah, I'm burnt out. I think my allergies are knocking me out.
Yeah, there's that too.
I actually broke down and put the air back on because I was like, my sinuses are killing me.
We had earlier last week, this was earlier June, and normally we see maybe 80s at best in the area that I'm at. Man, we were topping up like 95, 96, 98, and in the building here, it was kicking up over 100 in a couple areas here, and I just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
It's like too much too soon. Blame it on Trump.
That guy gets enough blame.
Yeah. And for the new people to the stream, if this is your first time watching, we do have a relatively common schedule that we try to stick with: Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's just, okay, this last Monday was my birthday, and I kind of got hauled off for the evening. I wasn't going to be able to make it back in time. We're going to be expanding the schedules a little bit and branching out into some of these other subjects that we've been talking about, everything from, the modeling to foundry casting or casting at home for you guys. Things that you can do with your 3D printers, not just printing fucking benchies all the time.
Oh, come on.
You know, when you have, I handle probably somewhere a little over a dozen now. I trimmed a couple of them up last week. Twitch is going crazy, guys. The chats are being duplicated, triplicated, and fuck-foricated.
Trunicated.
Yeah.
You missed the bus. We missed the bus. When's the next bus?
Yeah, earlier, just before the stream was going up, I was having a hard time getting the restream, which sends the chat to YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer, back and forth between you guys. I was having a problem getting that to connect, and I went into the support, and they were saying, yeah, we're having trouble with that. And someone, Grumpy, I think, or no, Bios69 mentioned that in America here, we're getting some massive attacks going on right now. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about the chat. It's just going to be that way. It's just going to suck for tonight. So, sorry about that. Maybe, yep, that's happening on Twitch. It wasn't doing it on YouTube the last I checked, and it wasn't doing it on Mixer. So, who knows? Let's see here. Oh,
making sure you got it, man. 13 times ain't enough.
Did you hear me? Did you hear me? Can you really hear me? Or can you see me?
I just feel like chatting tonight.
Yeah. For, like I said, for the new people to the stream, no matter what platform you're on, whether it be Twitch, YouTube, or Mixer, follow, subscribe, and on YouTube, hit that silly little bell if you want notifications of the streams that are going to be coming up. I did get off my ass last week, and I finalized the event scheduler on 3D Nexus in the live show section, which will be, let me get this pulled up for you guys anyways.
What's up, Shadow Fox?
Over in the live show section, bum, 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 bum. As soon as it loads up, there we go. There's a live show scheduler now that I've got all the bugs worked out of for the most part and everything like that, and it's active. So in the future, you can always just go to the Nexus and check to see when the next shows are going to be coming up, and say hypothetically today is the 17th. In the very near future, the topics and everything like that will also be included in there. So you can also get notifications that way too. I'm a one-man show when it comes to setting everything up on the Nexus, so you have to bear with me. I do all the artwork and everything else as well, so it's a coming. So... and just gonna throw this up real quick here. Wink. When we get into the modeling and things like that, you guys will have some newer screens to look at. I'm doing something very similar for our after hours show. I may do it like this or something very similar. If it's 3D Nexus natured with 3D printing, I've got a futuristic version. Oh, the airbrush guy, that's Kenny Boucher. His YouTube channel is
all linked up on 3D Nexus underneath all the...
I'm gonna be putting in, let me throw that image back up real quick and kind of show you where you'll be able to look.
Because there's a bunch of stuff there. which is nice.
Yeah, that's going to be Kenny. His channel on YouTube and Twitch is Next Level Painting. And like I said, I've got a lot of the good stuff to get you started already linked through here, as well as some of the other guys in his network, like Spiky Bits and a couple of the other guys. Like, follow, subscribe to them guys too. Kenny does weekly live streams all the time too. I'll just warn you, his style of streaming and everything like that isn't for everybody. I won't say that it's adult or mature content or anything like that, but he's got a special way of just doing his streams and everything. I love it to death and everybody, but I've also had other people just say, dude, just shut up and start painting. Well, he ain't like that. He's really engaging with his audience and things like that, and that's why I like the guy. So check him out.
Yeah,
and
like that.
I'm going to add to the airbrushing and the modeling sections on the right-hand side a menu that'll also be able to take you directly to some of these guys' channels and things like that. So, yeah, Mike, if you're used to our streams already and everything like that, you'll fall right into play with Kenny's stuff. So, I also just this is what I was working on earlier today. The header is going to be changing. I just added, I think, about 100 videos to the ZBrush modeling section. That's going to get crazy. There's just going to be days and days of content for you guys to go through on this. I'm hunting up all the good stuff that I've tucked away and used and stuff like that. Some basic tutorials and things like that on doing different things. Some of mine are going to be floating around in there too. Shameless plug there. Alrighty, let's get back to our real screen here. There we go. And just because I'm fucking lazy. Okay, everything's still going good. You'll see on the right-hand printer right there, I've got a device sitting on the printer right now. Taz recognizes that. That's the mini UV curing station by a user on Thingiverse. That's was it called the Moai or something like that? Or is that what he called it? Something like that?
Honestly, I don't remember.
I modified it a little bit and I remixed it. I'm going to put that file up for you guys that are just getting into this. I've got bigger UV cabinets and things like that, but for doing small things, this is a good deal to get. And Taz, you probably noticed I put a hood over the top of mine just because I couldn't stand looking at the gray lamp on the top. I've also got very similar to the alien head that is on the Gralien user interface for the Marlin software for the artilleries. I'm 3D modeling and printing up a alien head to go right on the front of that little beastie right there just because I want it to look cool. I'll put all that up on the site after I get that finished too.
Yeah, because with that small size box, this one's pushing the limit with the turntable in there.
Well, you can get by. You don't really need the turntable if you've got the if you've got the whole inside lined with the laminate, the moist laminate.
No, it's not laminate.
Inside joke from last week, folks. Anyways, if you've got it lined with
vinyl,
a mirrored product of some kind.
Even aluminum foil works. I did that for a while.
Yeah, you can do that too. You don't really need to have a turntable in there. And when I was putting that together, my son, bless his little 10-year-old monkey self, he mentioned to me, why don't you put a hole through the base and just put your turntable base on the inside of that thing? And I said, well, that's going to mean me also making an additional riser for the bottom of it. And he says, well, you have 3D printers, Dad. Go ahead and do it. What are you waiting for, my little shit? He's right, though. I mean, if you're kind of really pushing the limits for the height and everything like that, you can either add another spacer to it. You can just lengthen the top part. I'm not going to walk all the way over just to take it apart for you guys and everything like that.
Well, the thing is this one actually on the turntable, it's not the height that's messing it up. It's actually because this one doesn't want to stand.
Oh, you had to lay it down?
Yeah, so when it goes like this, it stops on the turntable.
Past experience with other stuff. Let me get this. I will show you something amazing.
Because this one wasn't a problem. I supersized her as much as I could, though. I was just surprised at how much more detail I could see on it. Because on the smaller one, I was missing some stuff, I guess. It lost resolution or something. I didn't realize how good the model really was. Bonus. Yeah, I could have did something like that. I just was trying to do it really quick, so. Because I got the little mini solar turntable. It works really good, and the UV light keeps it charged too, which is really cool. And I even stuck some more vinyl on it. I had diamond plate vinyl, so my whole inside is diamond plate, and then I put some on the turntable too. So
awesome stuff. You can also use this. You can use that for throwing in the UV, and you can also use that when you're temporarily sticking models on your corks or your little model stands and things like that. Stuff works really good. Seen when you upsize and downsize, you need to re-render it. What are we talking about? Upsizing?
I said that I noticed that from going from this size, I noticed when I upsized it, I had much more detail on this model than I thought was there. I didn't realize there was actually extra things on here that this didn't pick up for some reason.
What did you nuances? Did you reduce it in size in your slicer?
I was using Cheeto Box.
Well, I'm saying, but did you do it in the slicer? In other words, say, did you do it 50% in the slicer, or did you load it up in a modeling program? And
I did it in a slicer.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Yeah, if you're working with models and things like that, it's best if you're going to change the size. And even Windows 10 3D Builder works fine in most situations. Hey, Grumpy, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, we'll catch you Friday. We'll catch you Friday. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the algorithms that the slicers used, and I've seen some pretty fucked up prints come out of the slicers when you're playing with sizes. So it's best to figure out the size that you're going to want to do outside of the slicer and then re-import it as a different STL.
Yeah, I was in a hurry, so I'll be honest. I didn't realize I lost that much resolution on it. It was still a damn good print. There was some little nuances that got clipped for some reason until I used the actual size.
Yeah, we're topping right at the top of 2 hours here, and I think for this being a daily, I think we're going to kind of cut it here anyways. I've got some other things I want to start getting caught up on, and I've already got a list I added to stuff I want to do on the site before I finally crash out and decide to go to sleep for tonight. Unless you guys got anything else that you need to know about or any last minute questions or anything like that, I think we're going to be pretty much done for tonight. Had a lot of fun so far, covered a lot of bases and talked about a lot of different things.
Yeah, it was a good stream.
Again, if you are new to the stream, if you haven't done so, it's a good idea. It helps the channel out directly and indirectly. Like, follow, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit that notification bell, and we'll go from there. If you guys got any ideas of things you'd like to see or something like that, again, throw us some suggestions and things like that. I think this Friday, it's going to be up in the air. I'm trying to get some cool information out of artillery on a few things that pertains to FDM printing. And I got a couple other things going on in the resin arena that I might have to be able to drop on you guys too. Yeah, Mike, I'm getting all set up, cam wise and everything like that as far as painting goes and everything like that. We're going to be diving into that real soon. I've been itching. This is the time of the year that I kind of need that relaxation, and I've also got a ton of projects that I need to get caught up on that involve painting, so I will be more than happy to take you guys along on that journey. So it's cool watching the chat, the chat's repeating like 2 and 3 times and everything like that, and Mike's like, need some more painting, need some more painting, need some more painting.
Yeah, I think you need some more painting.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
Yep.
Everyone have a great night. See ya.
Guys, take care. We'll talk to you Friday. I don't foresee any issues with the stream on Friday, and we might even have a Saturday stream too during the day. I'll talk to you guys about that a little bit later. Take care now.